Hello, everyone. Good afternoon, good morning, good evening, depending on where you're joining us from across the world or whenever you're watching this recording. We appreciate you guys joining us this afternoon for our newest OLLI Travel Insights, our next in a series of OLLI Travel Insights webinars that we here at Nanda Journeys have been putting on specifically just to inform OLLI programs across the country about the amazing ways that they can make their travel programs even more successful. Today, we have an amazing topic talking about building towards success, how to create the right team, tailoring the right tours, and putting the right tools together for travel success. That's a lot of teas.
That's a lot of teas.
Before we get into the conversation, just a quick housekeeping. Everyone on the webinar is muted today, but that doesn't mean we don't want your questions. We absolutely do. We're going to be covering a lot of topics. So if there's something that's really interesting to you, you want us to dive deeper into it into a future conversation, please put that in the chat just by clicking on that chat button or the Q&A button. You can put all of your questions in there. This is a conversation, so we're going to be kind of jumping into the question and answer or the chat and seeing if there's anything that we can kind of dive deeper into as we go. Also, we are recording this webinar today, so if you do have to step away, or if you have colleagues or partners or friends and other OLLIs that couldn't join us, we do send out the recording, so feel free to share that recording with all of your partners or all of your friends or all of your colleagues. This is meant to help you be as successful as possible, because when more people see the world, we here at Nanda Journeys are happy. So that's all we want to help you guys with. So with that being said, I am joined once again by my friend Nicola Balmain, the founder of Nanda Journeys. Nicola, thank you so much for joining us. I'm so excited to be having a conversation again about our favorite topic, travel in general.
Good to see you, and good job with those teas. Wow, there's nothing we can't accomplish after getting through that program title. So good job with that.
Oh well, yeah. I actually came up with that on the fly. Tools, tailoring. Yeah, I added a few extra T's from when we actually kind of went through this on the dry run. But Nicola, you're the founder of Nanda Journeys. I myself am the product development director here at Nanda Journeys. I have over 15 years of experience working with OLLI programs. And when I joined the Nanda team as a part of what you guys are doing here, I found a great synergy between what you guys do and what the OLLI programs are looking for. This isn't a sell on Nanda Journeys by any means, but I think it's such a great opportunity for us to be able to talk to so many OLLI programs about the amazing things that they can do to help their programs grow.
Yeah, I know. I was so excited, having being involved in educational travel, both from a youth and an adult perspective. When you introduced me personally to the OLLI concept, which I was not aware of, it it was like a magic light went off in my brain. It's like, it's so perfect. We're very used to supporting, lifelong learners, whether it be for their careers or their special interest or a passion that they have. That's just been something that we have been doing forever. And when you
Yeah.
can marry two worlds together and get excited about the opportunity to introduce more people to the world in a really unique way, as OLLI does currently, then, we could talk forever on this topic. So this is what, the fourth series, I think, the fourth in our series. And each time we collaborate
Yeah.
on this, I just get more and more excited because it's just a beautiful topic.
Yeah, and I think it's one of the few places where the discussion is solely dedicated to travel programs for OLLI groups around the country. So I think it's a great place for OLLI groups to kind of come together to learn about travel and some of the many ways they can make their travel clubs more successful. And this conversation is really unique because it kind of brings my 15 years of experience in working in, the OLLI programs and helping them to grow, and your experience in the travel industry, kind of helping with tailoring and customizing itineraries and the best ways to marry those two together. So this conversation is going to be all about three major topics. And the first topic we're going to cover is building the right team. A successful program always starts with the right team. And that doesn't necessarily just mean the people that are on your team and are getting paid. It means the people that are dedicated to your success. From there, we're going to talk about tailoring the right experiences and the importance of creating bespoke itineraries, how those itineraries can make the classroom come to life. If you've joined us on some of our last conversations, I think we've dedicated a whole hour to how tailoring is such an important part of bringing the classroom to life. So we'll touch on that a little bit in our tailoring conversation. And then finally, how you can use the right tools to make sure that you're promoting the tour with the journey with the success, but also making it easier for your travelers to sign up and making sure that you're working together with your travel partner to ensure that you're being as successful as possible with the travelers that are coming with you on your journey. So starting off, great journeys start with great teams. We've heard it all before. It takes a village to make success. And I think it
Mhm.
all begins, maybe not all begins. I think there are many starting points, but I think one of the key starting points is that journey host. And I know, Nicola, you've had a lot of experience. Sometimes when you see a journey host, you're like, this is it. This is the person that's, people are going to just travel with this person everywhere. What are some of those key factors when our OLLI programs are looking for journey hosts or people to host their programs? What are those some key differentiating factors that can make them say, yes, this person will be a perfect fit for our journey?
Yeah, it's such a critical and an important conversation to have. And as we know, there are many different ways you can host a journey, right? So first and foremost, that could be your travel partner is providing somebody to host the journey on your behalf to chaperone and support. It could be somebody from the faculty that's maybe leading the journey. It could be one of your team members that's actually an employed member of the wonderful OLLI team, or it could be one of your volunteer OLLI members. So there are many different ways, first and foremost, that you can host a journey. So it doesn't have to be, if you're a small OLLI group, it doesn't have to be, well, I don't have enough people in my team, so I can't even begin to think about hosting travel journeys. There's just too much work, there's too much to do, and there's not enough people to go around. But we all want to travel. So there's lots of other ways, but there are some key characteristics, I think, for you to consider when identifying which of those kind of several different options are you going to choose. The most important, I think, is passion and enthusiasm, right? So you have to want to travel, number one. Not everybody does. I find that very surprising, but some people don't want to. We
Me
had that
too. Me
conversation with
too.
a team member yesterday, right? So
All right.
that-
Yep.
yeah, and that's okay. But really, you need somebody who is super passionate about the world, super enthusiastic about learning new things, and also really passionate about understanding human beings, right?
Mhm.
Human nature is very diverse. We all travel differently. We all explore the world differently. So I think it's really, really important that you consider those key characteristics and who's going to lead first and foremost. So when you're maybe interviewing or talking to people, be on the lookout for that. They should be hungry to want to travel. They should be hungry to want to lead. Um, Another characteristic is leaning into academic expertise. And again, I'm not just talking about faculty here. One of the beautiful things about OLLI is everybody that's a member is a lifelong learner. They're passionate about something. They're turning up to the classroom for a reason. They have professional backgrounds, or they have had life experience that they could bring to this journey and help the conversation move forward, right? And then I think collaboration and communication. A great travel program cannot be done in isolation or as one person. We know that, right? We definitely need our local team members, our international team members. It takes a lot of people to invest and contribute to make a great program, like ideas for the learning objectives. What activities could we do that's really going to make it shine, make it different? We're looking for something that's going to be unique always, so that everybody that's on the journey has their own unique experience. So your leader host should be a great communicator and on program too, to be able to communicate, keep everybody coordinated, but also to feedback if some things are not going right. And that's, I think, an important acknowledgement. Travel, just by its nature, things don't go right. So you have to be a really good communicator, communicate to your local team, back to your local travel provider to make sure that everything is seamless without the travelers really understanding that there was a problem in the first place. So that's key. And then engagement and promotion, right, is talking to people. All of those factors that we just talked about ultimately should have an output of engagement from the people that might be potentially interested. So identifying the right person is key to that very first step
Mhm.
in where are you going to go, who's going to lead it, and what kind of program are you going to do.
Right. I mean, the last thing you need as a group leader is someone who's like, I don't care where we're going. I mean, to build whatever you want in an itinerary, right? You want someone who's passionate, who's enthusiastic. Their enthusiasm is going to breed enthusiasm amongst your OLLI
Totally.
program members, right? Their engagement, if they're engaged, if they're promoting and saying, come with me constantly. I mean,
Yeah.
that's the key to a great group leader or a great journey host is just someone who is just loves travel and wants people to go. And if you can marry that to the ability for them to collaborate with your travel partner to build the perfect itinerary, I mean, then you're talking, there it is, dream itinerary. You're talking dream scenario, right? You have an engaged leader with an itinerary they're excited about, and they're out there talking about it to all of your members. That is, I believe, something it starts with a great host, and finding that great host can be anyone, right? It can be a part of a
Yeah.
travel committee. It could be a part of it. It could be a teacher. It could be a professor at the university, a member of your OLLI. But you always have to have your tentacles out there, kind of feeling, who could be a good leader, who could, what destinations should we be going to, and a travel committee can really be a big part of that success as well. Finding those people that are kind of your champions amongst your travel club. Tell me a little bit about travel committee, because I know when we say travel committee, people are like, "Oh man, travel committee meetings," and
Another
doesn't always have
committee.
to be
Yeah.
you want to delay. There's that old saying: you want to delay a decision, bring it to a committee or bring it to a board, right? Like very few people, realize a lot of people realize how long that takes, but it doesn't necessarily need to be a formal travel committee. It can be just your trusted advisors. Tell us a little bit about the strength that brings.
Yeah, and I know across the OLLI spectrum, there are different ways that travel programs are managed and facilitated. And that goes for us too at Nanda Journeys in terms of other universities, associations, and professional bodies we work with. Coming to those decisions is not necessarily a one-track situation. And that's important, like flexibility and being able to marry your unique OLLI around how to make decisions. A travel committee can be really good for that, pulling from your OLLI team and pulling from your members. Again, your faculty, some people from faculty might be on this travel committee, and it doesn't have to be formal, but it definitely should be engaged, right? That we were talking about that dream leader scenario, like who out there in your OLLI sphere loves to travel, wants to travel, understands the value of travel, right? Understands that learning comes in many different forms, and somebody who sees opportunity too, because opportunity comes to us in many, many different forms, right? There are so many different ideas that can translate into a travel program, right? But having a core unit of trusted advisors, to your point, Michael, who you can have a conversation with, a trusted conversation that will be a challenged conversation, right? Because we all have the dream bucket list. But is the dream bucket list really practical, and is that the right decision for your OLLI? So you would have a team of people that can challenge that conversation and really help you drill down into what destinations will align with our specific OLLI. And that necessarily isn't the same across all OLLI programs or all special interest groups or whatever we're talking about. So your travel committee, formal or informal, should definitely be first and foremost OLLI forward, right? So have the members and the learning objectives top of mind and want to have a travel program that is not just travel for travel's sake, but travel for learning's sake, right? Is like, how is this travel program going to enhance our journey as lifelong learners? How is it going to evolve? How are we going to design it? And how are we going to collaborate together? So understanding travel trends, understanding what's popular versus being open to what might not necessarily have landed on your ear or what's not been in the news or the newspaper, but listening to some trusted travel advisors too about recommendations after they've shared a little bit about their specific OLLI, right?
Right. Right. And I think we missed a bullet point. We should put efficiency somewhere on here. An efficient travel committee is a successful.
Efficient decision making is critical.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah, I think I mean, I've worked with committees where, sometimes they're just there to kind of gently direct certain things or bring
Mhm.
ideas or promote the OLLI travel program. And sometimes it's the committee members that are traveling, right? They're the ones that are
Yes.
saying, I'm bringing Costa Rica to the table, or I'm bringing Iceland to the table, or this is the destination I want to go to. And then the committee decides on 4 or 5 destinations, and the committee members that will be hosting those journeys. So a committee can also bring together ideas. And if a committee member is committed to the success first and foremost of the OLLI program, but also the success of their own journey, they're going to have a much
Mhm.
more successful journey if that committee member is actually the one championing that particular destination or that particular journey. So they're not only, obviously, to your point, they're OLLI forward and they're OLLI first and the overall success of the program, but also if they're bringing ideas and thoughts to the table in regards to journeys that they want to host, that's
Yep.
also another great opportunity for them to be successful, as well. I think the biggest thing is a committed and dedicated OLLI member is probably a great just advocate, or a great expert to just kind of rely on. Where should we go? What should we be doing? And then also the idea of working with other OLLI programs, right? There's, I think, over 125 now OLLI programs
Yeah.
across the country.
Hmm.
I know
Hmm.
it's over 100, but you're all in different, creating a travel program is a journey, right? Not to be
Our favorite, one of
redundant.
our favorite words.
Yeah. But everybody is in a different space. Sometimes some people may just be starting. You can rely on other OLLI programs to kind of help you with questions you might have. Some programs are thriving and knowing the destinations that are super successful. So this idea of, when I work with OLLI programs, I need to split departure dates. That's not always the case. Tell us some of those best practices in terms of working with other OLLI programs, Nicola, that you've seen, or some of the ideas that you've heard of all the other OLLI programs having success and working together.
Yeah, I mean, there's again, lots of different ways to approach your travel program, and not what we're here to tell you today, first and foremost, is there isn't one track that you can take. There's several, right? So
Right.
that's the key that we want to share here, is there are so many different ways you can create a successful travel program. Don't be overwhelmed and thinking, there's no way I can start an OLLI program. It's just me, and I don't have a big travel committee, and I don't have a big team. There are still so many ways. Number one, your travel partner, engage them, talk to them. But
Mhm.
then other OLLI groups, reach out to them and see who has a travel program versus who wants to start one. Maybe you could collaborate. I think one of the biggest hurdles for people starting out with getting their travel program stood up is it's too complicated. I don't have the expertise. I can only take 6 people. Whatever that hurdle is, bring that question to us, because I think we've probably seen a solution to it. Or, talk amongst your other OLLI directors, or reach out to some other OLLI programs. They have successful travel programs. But you could collaborate together. You could co-host, you could create opportunities to have a lower priced program if you're maybe collaborating together and you think you could get 20 to 25, which I personally think is a beautiful number for an OLLI program. It allows you to still have intimacy and experience, and it gets to a good price point as well, because economics has got to balance, right? 6 people traveling versus 25. Naturally, that bus that you're going to sit on and all of the experiences are going to cost the same. So if you feel like you don't have enough people interested, but you have people that want to travel, I am sure there are several OLLIs out there who would open arms welcome the opportunity to collaborate. And the strength community, like it says here, having somebody to cheer on and celebrate success and be able to share the workload with, can be really, really rewarding. And then you share best practices and ideas. And I think the most beautiful thing that we don't have here on a bullet point, but for me, no matter where cross culture comes from, it's always benefit, right?
All
So
right.
people from across the United States getting to know each other, become friends, share different things about their hometown, their state. We're a very, very diverse country. So that to me adds so much value, because you have your USA culture and then you have your international culture, and all of that shared
Yeah.
learning and special interest and new learning is really great. I mean, when I was in the student travel world, combining states together, all those kids
Yeah.
learning from each other, it was super powerful.
Yeah. That's where the magic happens, when all the communities come together and experiencing new things. And I think, relying on your fellow OLLI programs to kind of, share best practices and kind of even departure dates if it comes down to it. I love what you said at the beginning there, which was don't feel like my program's not big enough, so I can't start a travel
Mhm.
program.
Yeah.
What I love about OLLI and travel is Osher Lifelong Learning. It's all about learning. That's saying that travel is a great educator, right? So I think travel and education just line up so well. So I feel like, if there's a will, there's a way. And there are other OLLI programs and companies like Nanda Journeys that can help you to get to where you want to be when it comes to building a strong travel program. Because everybody's in that journey in a different place, right? Some are just starting, some are thriving. But in the end, you won't thrive unless you start. So that's what we encourage you. If you haven't started, start, because there is so many synergies between the two things, between travel and education. And then, I mean, this is something that you know all too well. Choosing the right travel partner in terms of building your program. And this is something you're an expert at. I think the travel partner really helps to take your program to that next level. Explain to us, when we say travel partner, what that is, and kind of what do you experience in the world of where you are in the tour operator space, of how, a travel partner can really make or break a successful trip.
Yeah, the travel partner really is your eyes and ears, your expert. They've done all the negotiations on price for you. They support all the operational behind the scenes details. They're basically just allowing you just to put the opportunity out to people and not have to worry about anything else. That really is the right travel partner, is you shouldn't have to work too hard beyond saying, I want to travel, I want an OLLI group, and engaging your OLLI members. The rest should come from a travel partner in collaboration. And there's so many out there. We're not here to say that Nanda Journeys is the one and done for travel programs, because there are so many other people out there, and choosing the right partner for you is key, because there are a lot of different factors involved in creating that successful travel program for your OLLI. And again, emphasizing that word, your OLLI, your members. What do they want out of a travel program? So your travel partner is there to understand your learning objectives. What are the learning outcomes? When you're developing a class curriculum, or I know your OLLI directors out there, you're painstakingly developing the right curriculum, the right faculty members. And it's no different for a travel program, right? Is what do we want to learn on this program, and how do we want it to feel? How do we want people to feel? So that should be a conversation your travel partner is willing, able, and interested in having with you, right? And they should be there to be an extension of your team, right? To collaborate, to ideate with you, to get people excited, and ultimately to be an extension, right? That's what I was saying earlier. If you only think you're a one-person team, you're not. Your travel partner should always be an extension of your team. I know here at Nanda Journeys, we think of ourselves as exactly that. If you engage us to be part of your journey, then you're part of the Nanda family. And by extension, we consider ourselves part of your OLLI family. And that's how we represent you in conversations with your members and promoting everything about your program. So your travel partner should be your best friend, right? I mean, they should. And they should be there to make it work for you. So in choosing that travel partner, what is most important to you? Is it price? Is it quality of maybe hotels and experience? Do you want a boutique kind of experience versus a US chain hotels? Ask your travel partners, which way do they lean in terms of how do they coordinate those programs? So again, it depends your OLLI program, what do you want it to be, and which travel partner best aligns for you with your core objective. And I think I would recommend to you to write down what is most important. Like, just bullet point out what are the most important things about a travel program, that at the end of the day, we want our people to feel like when they come back and talk about the program, how do we want that to be? And then you should expect a travel partner to be able to lean in to that and say, yes, we can fulfill those objectives. But it's a good exercise for you too, because then what is ultimately driving your decision.
Yeah. Yeah, and I mean, when you say an extension of your team, you know, obviously, um, many Ollie programs like, oh yeah, of course, a travel partner is going to help me plan my trip, or they're going to, you know, negotiate or find the hotels for me. When you say an extension of your team, what are some of those things that, you know, a partner might be doing or might be willing to do that, you know, some of the listeners or the viewers might say, oh wow, I didn't even realize, you know, a travel partner may be willing to do that for me. You know, I didn't realize that a travel partner would follow up or do some of the things that, you know, I don't have the time to do. Are there certain examples of things that you could give to say this is a travel partner's ability to kind of help you build and grow your travel program?
Yeah, following up with emails that people might have expressed interest, you know, sending that email out on your behalf, obviously with your blessing and your tailored signature as well. So branding everything that you put in front of your members as your OLLI program. So helping make sure that it looks seamless, that it's a coordinated effort. Being there to field questions, you know, and speak to people who are curious, who are engaged, hand-holding everybody from registration through to travel, right? So getting in front, providing additional details, keeping people engaged. Back to that first slide, enthusiasm, engagement. That should be from the minute you decide to travel to the minute you actually travel. You need to be engaged and talking to people, keeping them prepared, right? Preparing them with visa information or passport information or flight information, whatever that question might be, currency, or doesn't matter what the question is. The travel partner is an extension of you and are the experts, so they can take care of that for you.
Someone that you should trust to be able to step in for you in places where you might be too busy to get to that follow up or to get to that outreach. Obviously, the travel partner should always have your blessing to do that, but I
Yep.
think that you should be able to find travel partners that are able to do that on your behalf as well. So above and beyond building the right team, you know, a successful travel program also comes down to the journeys, the creation of the experiences that you put together, because inspiring happens beyond the classroom. It's beyond just, you know, seeing what you're learning in the classroom come to life. Such an important part of an OLLI travel program. And again, we could talk for another hour about this whole thing. But creating a bespoke itinerary, custom journey, it all starts with finding the right partner and kind of finding that right destination. So tell us about creating bespoke itineraries and the importance of them when it comes to building strong, successful travel programs.
Yeah, again, you know, the Osher Lifelong Learning Program, the OLLI programs, what I love about it is the deep connection to learning, right? So if
Right.
you're trying to kind of put yourself in a track, what I call a track itinerary, right? It might not necessarily then allow you the opportunity to really blossom and bring out those learning moments that are so key for your members, right? The reason they're part of your program is because they know they can turn up, they can have a fabulous faculty engagement. They're going to learn something. They're going to learn something in a really unique way. And travel programs ideally would be a reflection of that. So, you know, if you're going to Spain, I'm currently in Spain, experiencing new things and learning new things, then you really want to get into the culture and go deep into the culture and have opportunities that allow you to say, connect a piece of curriculum with a very specific experience in Spain. Where I am here in Spain, they have, you know, ironworks here, right? Just because of the Moorish architecture and all of the railings and everything you see on the windows. So they still have blacksmiths here that are operating. So getting really deep in behind the scenes and really understanding what that culture represents. So working with your travel partner to look at some sample itineraries to create that brainstorming, right? Because sometimes we don't know what we don't know until we start really exploring what the options might be. Then your travel partner should be able to recommend things that are really different, right? So one OLLI's experience is probably going to be very different than somebody else's, even if they're in the same 3 cities or in the same country, because your learning
Yeah.
objectives are different, right? You want to learn something new. and you might be tying different pieces of faculty programs together as well.
Yeah. Yeah, and I mean that idea of kind of constantly kind of going back and forth in regards to the itinerary and saying, yes, we like this, but we'd like to add a little bit more of this. You know,
Mhm.
our journey host is really interested or intrigued by X, Y, and Z. Can we add some aspect of that to the itinerary? Those abilities to go back and forth and collaborate to make sure that the itinerary exactly matches, while also um, providing general information and general things as well. I think one of the things that some OLLI programs or some groups in general can get into a pitfall is where, you know, let's say they have a painting class and every aspect of a journey is all about painting, right? And
Mhm.
so, yes, people still want to paint, it's a hobby, but not every aspect of their journey do they want to be about painting, right? So, you know, if you have a journey that's, you know, about architecture, not every single minute of that journey needs to be about all the amazing architecture. You want to make sure that when you're tailoring, it's general for a lot
Mhm.
of people and kind of broadly interest, but also having those insights that are much more unique, right? So a lot of times I talk to group leaders where they're like, oh, we have I use painting. We have a painting group. We want to paint for 4 hours or 5 hours a day. You know, I love playing guitar, but I don't want to play guitar 4 or 5 hours a day when I'm on vacation, right? I want to
Mhm.
do other things and experience the culture. So that also is you want to kind of get away from that pitfall of making every moment of the day about that particular special interest, right? And so that's
Yeah.
where kind of designing these special interest groups, this is a thing that not a lot of OLLI groups necessarily do, but is another way above and beyond their classrooms that they can increase their ability to offer itineraries that interest some of the travelers or potential travelers. Tell us a little bit about how turning special interest groups can become travel gold.
Yeah, I think some of the most exciting features of the OLLI programs are their special interest groups, right? So that allows you to truly identify, you know, the identity and the personality of your OLLI members, right? So if various different leaders within your OLLI community are proposing special interest groups because they really want to get a group together on a regular basis, that I think is untapped potential, right? So your special interest group is already identified as a group of individuals who like similar things. They are willing to get together on a regular basis to come together and learn about that. So to be able to then transform that into a travel program would add so much additional learning and value. So if you have a special interest group that, I don't know, knitting and crochet, you know, I've seen them, or like your painting example, for instance, or architecture, or food, you know, food and wine is one of those very popular special interests. Does it lean into a certain part of the world, or is it a certain type of cuisine or culinary experience? All of those things
Mm-hmm.
could be transformed into a travel program, but the even more beautiful thing about it is many of your special interest groups could cross over and come together and have a great experience in a single country, right? So
Right.
understanding your special interest groups and where they potentially cross over. And again, in talking to your travel partner, you might stumble across that, right? It's just let your travel partner know, well, we have these special interest groups and brainstorm out how they potentially could cross over or come together. And might be some other special interest groups on other OLLI programs that are already doing the same thing. Again, going back
Mhm.
to
Right.
talking to your fellow OLLI members and across the country, just understanding, hey, what are your special interest groups? Maybe we could put a group together that could travel and experience this.
Yeah. Yeah, and I think, you know, some great special interest groups that just kind of popped to my head that are very aligned themselves with travel is photography, right? If you have a
Mm.
photography interest group,
Yeah.
like or a book club, right? Somebody who
Mhm.
you're reading about a destination, you want to travel to that destination, or you
Yeah.
know, photography and travel go hand in hand. And I think, you know, a lot of people are interested. My mom being one that just loves to take pictures and what kind of, you know, lens should we use and all that. That lends itself so well to to um to travel, and then I'm the one that has to see all the pictures when she gets home. But I don't mind because she's a great photographer. I did want to just touch base. Dana did jump in. I don't see her on the call anymore, but Dana did mention that there are 124 institutes in OLLI currently, but that the Osher Boise State has a very robust travel committee and met with over 7 OLLIs about their travel programs that they're collaborating on with for 2026. And it says 2026 and 2026, but I assume that was 2027. So that's awesome to hear that major focuses of all Osher OLLI programs continue to be travel, and that you guys are getting together to talk, because that is a big part of the success is collaboration, not only with the people within your community, but those that are running communities elsewhere. So matching the classroom with the journey. This is the conversation we had for an hour. If you want to hear us talk about that for an hour, we can send along that recording as well. But touch a little bit upon how bringing the classroom to life on the journey is such an important opportunity to not only bring the classroom to make the classroom more vibrant, but to really encourage people to travel.
Yeah, I spent a little bit of time, and my team spent a little bit of time just looking at some, some course prospectuses for OLLIs across the country. And it was so exciting because when you start laying them up and you maybe lay out, okay, these are all the courses that are going to be offered. I'm a bit of a spreadsheet geek personally. So you put all of the courses into a spreadsheet and then look at where is a crossover in destination. And again, there are so many opportunities to combine courses or to talk to more faculty members about them potentially being a host because they have an anchor component that you could use in developing your program. And I think the other thing to reiterate when we're talking about hosts and classroom learning, your professor or faculty might not necessarily lead a program in the specific academic element that they're teaching, because they too have interests outside the classroom. They have hobbies and interests and passions. So marrying those two together from an academic perspective and a special interest perspective, that could be, a perfect way of creating a dynamic leader within your community that allows them to experience the world as a traveler as well, not just as a working faculty member. They're going to see things that they're excited about, right, as well. So there's so many different ways to cross-collaborate curriculum, journeys, and passions.
Right. Yeah, and that's kind of what is important is in regards, and it brings it back to that pitfall of making everything about a particular itinerary, right? If it's geology and you're doing everything about rocks on a tour, that's not what people want. They want these special moments that you can kind of create and put into specific itineraries. If you're in an architecture class in Spain and you get a chance to see Gaudi and some of the amazing work that he's done in Barcelona or Madrid, getting a chance to see that come to life. And we've actually started to talk about the moments and the journeys that Nanda creates as OLLI moments. And I think that's such a great way to kind of put it in an OLLI moment in an itinerary. Tell us what an OLLI moment is and kind of what the purpose of that is. And then we'll give a couple of examples of some of the itineraries we're putting together for other OLLI programs.
Yeah, an OLLI moment should be those things that are very specifically geared to your OLLI members, your learning objectives. So you get the start of that design kind of journey, where we're going, how are we going to get there, what are we going to do? These OLLI moments should lean in to those learning objectives, right? So this should be, how do you connect with people, local people, not just, in a museum, but with a curator or with somebody in their home who has a specialized topic that they can share with you. How can you have that OLLI moment that you wouldn't ordinarily get if you were traveling maybe as an individual traveler, let's say? So going into people's homes, going into people's communities, OLLI moments should augment the learning, and you should come back with a deeper knowledge, and you should come back with friends, right? Because OLLI, I think to Dane's point, was all about augmenting and emphasizing social connection and learning, right? So these moments are all designed to allow people that are traveling to have their moments. It's their OLLI moment, and it should be something they talk about when they come back, but it should continue to have an impact on them. And that's really what we're trying to accomplish.
And I think the beauty of these OLLI moments is they're curated to the classroom experiences, right? Because you can have, a lot of tour operators out there put together amazing itineraries, amazing journeys that do have those intimate, people-to-people connections, but they could be very generic. They could be happening on every other itinerary that they have to that particular destination. So it's a very generic thing. Here in the OLLI moments that are put, some of the examples, these are curated specifically for these particular journeys. So that way these journeys have the opportunity to bring that classroom learning. Like, tell us a little bit about our Christmas markets journey here with OLLI at the University of Pittsburgh and some of the experiences they're going to be having.
Yeah, so we were chatting about, again, do we have some other hosts that might want to travel but really have not explored traveling before? And Lisa shared with us that Oren is, just such a dynamic, magnetic professor that his classes, they fill up every time. But his core interest is in biology, but his passion is in puppets and in the Austrian Empire and the history of Austria. So that was like a big spark for me, because I'm like, that's perfect. And we can create so many special opportunities for them. And we specifically designated an early December arrival so that we could be in Austria for the event of Krampus. So Krampus is this very unique Austrian experience that's tied with St. Nicholas. So most of us know about St. Nicholas, but we don't know about Krampus. So it's kind of like the have you been a good child? Have you been a bad child kind of event. So we wanted them to experience that with local people in Austria. And a private chamber concert as well with a young upcoming musician. So again, it supports that lifelong learning, but also advocates and supports grassroots efforts to support people in the arts, right? And a Christmas concert. So going to a school, not just doing a Christmas concert, but most of our OLLI members, aunts and uncles, grandparents, they love a good family moment. So how could we create that family moment so that you're bearing witness to what it's like to have a very personal experience at Christmas time, which is one of the most magical times that we all experience in the year, with local families, right? Just to see that unfolding in front of you. And some of my fondest memories of being at my kids' Christmas performances, right? Like all the family turns up, and how can we be a part of that? And then, of course, leaning into Oren's passion for puppeteering is having an experience at the Marionette Theater, which is famous for its puppets. It has very unique history, and trying to create an opportunity for a meet and greet there. And Oren, of course, can augment that learning. He studied it. He can add value both before, during, and after the experience.
Yeah. And then in terms of, if one of these journeys is intriguing, the beauty is you don't have to include everything that's included in that particular journey. You can take something out, add something in, and kind of adjust it to what you're looking for. We also have another successful journey happening with the UAH, University of Alabama, Huntsville, Alabama, their OLLI program. But this time it's going to Costa Rica. Tell us a little bit about, Chris, who we've worked with a couple of times now, and his journey to Costa Rica.
Yeah, so we had this kind of iterative conversation. Again, Chris led a group to Iceland, so he understood a little bit more about what opportunities we could do. And then we really leaned into, well, what do you want Costa Rica to look like? Where do you want to go? How do you want your members to engage with the country, with its people? And we curated a program very specifically for OLLI at Huntsville, Alabama, to include some learning experiences that we thought they'd be passionate about. So, those beautiful wooden carts that you see at the top there in the picture, going to a factory and understanding why do these oxen carts have such beautiful designs, but also what's the practical use? Why do they look like that? What have they been used for? And then having a cooking class as well. The cooking class is designed to be in an elevated position in San Jose on their arrival day, because one of the things we found in Iceland was they really enjoyed having a cooking class on that first day because it melded everybody together. They got to know each other. They were having kind of a hands-on experience. So like, well, we should replicate that because it worked so well. And then so many other things. The one thing I'm excited about on this journey is they're staying in Rancho Magot, which is 100% self-sustaining resort They grow their own food,
Wow.
make their own power, they make their own soap. So it's this beautiful concept of sustainable living and regenerative energy. So that's built in, and that's something that Chris thought everybody would be excited about. And then, of course, wildlife, like volunteering, giving back a little bit. How can you support a sanctuary down there, but learn something about the unique, you know, wildlife of Costa Rica, which, let's face it, that's an obvious reason why you're going. The OLLI Moments should be the not obvious reasons why you're going and what makes it so much more special.
The surprises. And this is a great example of a travel committee member just bringing an itinerary that they were really excited about or journey they were really excited about and made a very successful trip out of it. And so that's a great itinerary, great example of some of those OLLI moments. And just to kind of wrap up and talk about some of the tools that it takes to be a successful travel program. It's not just about picking the right journey host and picking the right itinerary. You got to let people know about it. People have to make you have to make it easy for people to sign on, to sign up, to get registered. So online booking systems are a big part of that. There are a lot of opportunities out there. A lot of travel companies offer them. Tell us a little bit about the importance of an online booking system and kind of what are those things that it can do that can really help to make our OLLI program leaders' lives a little bit easier.
Yeah, this is something we focused on a lot at Nanda Journeys when we were trying to identify for ourselves what kind of systems did we want to be able to engage with the people that we're engaging with to facilitate their travel experience. And an online booking system is critical. Number one, for convenience, right? We all have different busy lives. We're all doing different things. We want to be able to access and make a commitment and register at a time that's convenient for us, right? So outside of office hours is usually, I know we have a lot of retired folks that are part of the OLLI network, but I understand that retired life is very busy. I mean, talking to a lot of retirees, they never thought they'd fill their life. Very, very busy people. So you want the convenience of being able to go in and make your registration at any time. Flexible payment plans, I think, is important too. We don't have a lot of rigidity in what we do, so we work to make it fluid. So if we're working with somebody and they have put their program on sale, let's say a whole year out or more, you can maybe have 8 payments, or you can make the payment plan work again for your unique OLLI. And secure payment processing, critical, like in today's age, right? So having that secure knowledge that your payment information is protected, secure, behind a firewall, not going anywhere. And again, calling and giving your credit card number, not safe these days, right? It's like putting in a system where it's protected behind the scenes. And we're super, super fortunate that we've, been through a couple of audits to be able to support some OLLI programs as well, because they have a very rigorous risk assessment. And I think that's important to be able to say, you've got a really good system that supports that. And enhance client experience, branding as your OLLI, putting that front and center, showing the partnership, an extension again of your OLLI expertise and your travel partners' expertise, I think is really important. And something that we're able to do that I love personally is integrate your team members into the back end. So what do we mean about that? So you can be alerted if somebody registers like on the spot. Like, okay, somebody registered in this OLLI program, or if somebody asked a question. And you can be as engaged or not as you like. And that's again about flexibility over a rigid, no, we only can do it this way, right? It's like, how fluid is it? Because my OLLI is different. My members are different. They want to engage with you different. So I think an online booking system that is really dynamic is really critical.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree. I think one of the top things on the list is to make sure it's secure. And I think, your conversation about being audited and making sure that all the system processes are, meet the highest levels of security. That's the one thing that, a lot of our OLLI programs are probably worried about. Like, can I let my travelers book on this program because I'm not sure if their credit card information is secure? Again, Nanda Journeys has passed the audit. And so those questions are the questions you want to ask. Is it secure? Are they able to make payments? And then can I capture leads? Am I able to know when people are downloading brochures? Like all of that type of information is also very, very important to kind of help you understand who's the interest, where's the interest coming from, what are they interested in, and then how can we make it as easy as possible for them to sign up. And so above and beyond the payment and secure payment processing system and ensuring that your travelers can sign up very easily without having to call you or send you a registration form. Your office isn't filled with registration forms. I've been in those offices as well. Hundreds of registration forms. Hopefully you have hundreds of registrations. It's a good problem to have, but not having them on your desk is definitely an inconvenience. Also promotional tools, right? What are some of those promotional tools that every OLLI program director should be exploring, not necessarily using, because there's a lot of them out there, but there's others that we may not even be listing here. What are some of those promotional materials for OLLI programs to use to kind of take that, take their programs to the next level and utilize to make sure that they're getting the word out there as much as possible?
Yeah, there's so many. I mean, we all receive information differently these days as well, right? Some of us like, a super brief email. Some of us like pretty pictures. Some of us like flyers. We all consume information in a really different way. So utilizing lots of different ways of showcasing your travel program or your travel opportunity to people, I think is key for that reason. So customized flyers, right? Some people just want a one-page summary and they make their decision from that. That's fine. Other people want the nth degree, right? They want to know where, when, how, what, and having a very detailed itinerary is important. Branded web pages, right? So again, to show the partnership, like it's OLLI designed, but it's supported by a travel expert as well. And then sessions like this, right? Having this intimate conversation. It's not canned. It's orientated to you as the journey leader or you as the OLLI director, committee member, or travel team member. What do you want us to tell your folks? Like, we don't have a canned, well, let's just present this and present this way. What do you think is important? What should we focus on? What's important to you? And then short form videos as well, just introducing, to that point. Some of us can listen for 5 minutes, some of us can listen for an hour, and some of us can listen for a minute. Like, what do you need and how can we help you facilitate that need? And then using testimonials, right, is key. Like your best endorsement are people who have traveled before, and trying to get that in front of people, trying to capture them on video if they'll be willing. I know it's not everybody's preferred thing, but little snippets from people about what was their OLLI moment, what did they enjoy the most, why would they go back with another OLLI travel group, what is the one thing that would take them back, all those kinds of messages feeding into your newsletters, and small pieces of information versus very informed, let's come and talk about this particular travel program.
Yeah, it's all about moving them through the pipeline, right? Short form video gets them interested, getting them a flyer, gets them on the website gets them on the long form video or the webinar, and then all of a sudden you have a traveler on your hands. It's about a diverse outreach plan and working with the right partners to kind of help you have that diverse outreach plan and providing you the tools to be able to do that type of thing. To be able to engage people where they want to be engaged, as opposed to, we only have a webinar or we only have flyers. There's many opportunities to be able to engage with the right travelers. So those are the tools, those are the tailoring, and that is the team that you need to build. Tell us a little bit about Nanda Journeys now that we have about 5 minutes left. Tell us a little bit about Nanda Journeys, Nicola, and kind of, why is Nicola and Nanda Journeys talking about this topic? What makes you guys the experts in terms of this type of educational travel?
I think first and foremost, our passion, right? Our passion for learning is at the front of everything that we do, right? That's what drives us every day to create new programs and new experiences. A diverse team with experience. Michael, having you on our team with your 15 years OLLI experience. The rest of our Nanda team with association, university, professional interest groups, even youth groups. I spent a long time with a student education company. So what I've brought to Nanda is, we're all kids at heart, right? We can all learn in the same way. And one of the wonderful things about working with OLLI is I've used a lot of those examples of youth learning opportunities that we infused into travel programs and translated them into an adult type of an experience as well. So, we're passionate about learning, but we're passionate about transformation. And that transformation should be for you, your travelers, but also the people you meet, right? We have to be really cognizant of what kind of a traveler are we? How are we being respectful of culture? How are we supporting local economies? How are we helping the people around us that we visit thrive, right? So we do that work on your behalf, behind the scenes, spending your travel dollars locally and making sure that we're really supporting the community that we're visiting. There are certain places we can go these days that it's not necessarily adding to the local community. We're taking away resources or we're taking away opportunities to thrive. Once upon a time, tourism maybe helped that location thrive, but now it's having a detrimental impact. So the Nanda Way is kind of like the OLLI Moments, but with all of those things in the background that allow us to be really socially conscious about where we go, what we do, how we do it. And what's your favorite saying, Michael? The footprints?
Oh yeah, we take our memories, but we leave our footprints,
Yeah,
is what I always say.
exactly. Yeah, but
I love that.
that's a little bit about us and the Nanda Way. What's really, really, really important to us is being authentic. And that comes down to the conversations we have with you. If we don't think we're the right travel partner for you, there are a lot of people out there, right? Like I said
Right.
earlier, there isn't one person to match everybody. And my passion is making sure you have a travel program that's successful. And if I think somebody else could help you be that person, then we've worked so hard together to be in this industry, some wonderful people around, but we do think we do it in a very extra special way, that has a lot of compassion, a lot of support, and more importantly, a lot of differentiation.
Yeah, and I think that's why it's such a great fit what Nanda Journeys does to what, OLLI programs are looking for. And I think we're right on time here. We don't have any questions from the crowd, but if you do have any questions, please feel free to drop them in the chat. I see there are still a few people here, chiming in and being a part of our conversation. We really appreciate you guys being here. I would say one question from me. I'm going to put you on the spot here in a little bit, Nicola, so we didn't talk about questions at all. But if I had one question from me, if there was one takeaway that you would ask for the OLLI programs to have from this conversation in particular, what would be that one takeaway that you would ask that you would say that they should take away?
I would challenge yourselves to go bigger with your travel programs. And if you haven't started, start. It's so rewarding on so many levels. And I think it's one of the things that people will talk about for the rest of their lives, right? So if somebody's talking around a dining table about something that has transformed their lives, that means they're also talking about OLLI and their lifelong learning and encouraging people to be members, because at the end of the day, they afforded them the opportunity to have that experience. We love dinner table memories, so let's make
Yeah,
more.
I love that. Love that. We've always talked about someday starting a travel program. Someday starts today. With the help of Nanda Journeys, hopefully, but obviously there are many product partners out there for you. So with that being said, if you do have any questions following up from this webinar, any insight, again, we are here because we love helping people see the world regardless of whether or not it's with us. We have a lot of experience in the OLLI world, so feel free to lean on us for any questions or concerns that you have. You can reach us there at nandajourneys.com at that phone number, or info@nandajourneys.com. I will leave the final words to you, Nicola, for our audience today.
Well, thank you for being here. Thank you for being part of the Nanda family and the Nanda OLLI family. We will reach out to people that attended and provide the recording, but also see how we can further assist you in your travel journey. And thank you so much for being here, and adios from Spain.
Yes, thank you guys so much. We appreciate it. We look forward to seeing you on the next OLLI Travel Insights webinar. But more importantly, we look forward to seeing you out there in the world. Travel safe, and we'll see you next time.
Right.